Today we made albóndigas, a meatball soup. I'm using a pound of ground beef, some rice, 1 egg, 2 tomatoes, an onion, 4 small potatoes, salt, pepper, 3 carrots, and 2 Mexican squash, and some flour. We're going to need a pot. So we're going to take one of our tomatoes and we're going to slice it up and we're going to place it in our blender. I'm just using my small Ninja blender, and I'm also going to slice up half of the onion, and we're going to add that half of the onion into our blender as well. We want to blend it up, and we're going to get the broth to the albóndiga soup started before we start making our meatballs or albóndigas, whichever way you want to call it. So make sure you have all your vegetables clean before you start cooking. Wash them, make sure there's no dirt on them. You can either peel the potatoes or leave them with the skin. It's up to you. I left the skin on mine. So we're going to slice up this onion, add a teaspoon of salt. I added a teaspoon of pepper. You can omit the pepper if you like. I also added a tablespoon of chicken bouillon, some water, and we're going to blend this. And excuse the struggle with the cap. So we're going to get it all blended. And here I am struggling. Once it's blended, we're going to add to our pot. I added 8 cups of water plus my tomato onion mixture. And we're going to let this come to a boil. So again, I used 8 cups of water and the mixture. So now while my broth boils, I'm going to go ahead and small dice the rest of my onion. We're going to dice it up real good. Look at how fast I'm going. So make sure you dice it really small. You don't want big chunks of onion in your meatballs. We're going to take that other tomato. We're also going to dice it small. Again, all of these are small dices because we're going to be mixing it with our meat, and we don't want big chunks in our meatballs. So let's get it all diced up. You can, depending on how much you're doing, this is for 1 pound of meatballs. 1 pound of ground beef. So you can either use half a tomato and 1/4 of an onion. It's up to you how much you want to use, but this is what I used for my albóndigas. I have a pound of lean ground beef, which is the 90-10. I don't want fatty meat. I'm adding a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper. I'm going to add my egg. And this is just to help bind it. We're also going to add, it's about 2 tablespoons of uncooked rice. I just use a handful and a half. It's up to you how much rice you want to put in it, but I like it with about 2 tablespoons of uncooked rice. We're also going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. This is flour. Don't get me started on, I have an ancient jar and there's something in it and it's white. It's just flour. You can use all-purpose flour, gluten-free flour, or even cornstarch. It's just to help bind it. With clean hands, we're going to mix our meat, tomato, onion, rice, and seasoning, and flour and egg. We're going to get it all well mixed, and then we're going to roll our meatballs. The meatballs are as big as you would like them to be. Once our broth has boiled, it has come to a rolling boil, you can taste it for salt. You can adjust salt here. I added additional chicken bouillon. I don't like adding extra salt because sometimes salt is too much. Chicken bouillon works perfect for me. Give it a quick stir. I'm going to let this boil for about a minute, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my prepared meatballs. You want to add the meat before you add the vegetables because you don't want cross-contamination. So we're going to go ahead and add them all in there. Scatter them around the pot. You don't want to pile them all on top of each other. Once that has happened, wash your hands, and we're going to get to dicing our vegetables. I like a small dice on my vegetables for my albóndigas. It is up to you how big your vegetables are. Also, you can add any vegetable you like into your albóndigas. I like my albóndigas with only carrots, tomatoes, and Mexican squash. You can add diced green beans. You can add whatever vegetable is your preference. So make sure you dice up your carrots very small. Also, it depends on how much you want to add as well. You can add more or less. I like a lot of veggie in my albóndigas because then if you don't want to eat the meat, then you just add, you end up with a veggie soup, and it's really delicious anyways. So make sure you dice it all up and set it aside on a bowl while your meatballs are cooking. The meatballs cooked for about 15 minutes while I finished dicing all of my vegetables. And again, you want to cut your veggies while your meatballs are cooking because it'll give the meatballs a chance to flavor your broth. So once you've added once you've diced all of your vegetables, you can taste your broth again if you like. If you don't need to. But at this point, we're going to add, after 15 minutes, we're going to add our veggies. Choose your pot accordingly. Mine was a little over flooded, but it's all good. It's all good. It worked out. Make sure you get all your veggies down underneath so that they all cook, and let it boil for another 10 to 15 minutes until your veggies are soft. Once they're soft, you can go ahead and serve and enjoy your plate of meatballs.